Minecraft had much better villagers. Welcome back, everybody, to What If, my series where I write a custom mod for each and every episode just to explore crazy new ideas for Minecraft. And the idea I have for today is one that I've had for a long time. In fact, I think everybody probably has. Remember way back when Mojang added a few more villager types and farmers started to actually farm the land? I got pretty excited, I gotta admit. It seemed to suggest that villagers were going to get updated and improved quite a bit. But then, Mojang just sort of stopped. No more updates to villagers. So my goal today is to finish what they started and then, as always, take it to the next level. I'm going to make a wide assortment of brand new villager types and give them all unique looks, custom animations, and most importantly, their own complex daily routines based on their profession. Today, I'm going to introduce the first 4 of those new villagers. So let's get started. Say hello to the lumberjack. Hello. Now his job, of course, is to chop down trees and gather wood. He'll automatically find the nearest tree, walk over to it, and chop it down with his trusty axe. And once the tree is fully down, he will replant a sapling in the exact same spot so that he won't put himself out of a job. As he approaches the tree, if there's a bunch of leaves in the way, he just makes real quick work of those in order to gain access to the chopping. Now, while the lumberjack doesn't need wood himself, other villager professions living in his village definitely do. So, after chopping and collecting, he'll deliver the logs to the community storage building to share with others. And this is just one example of the many symbiotic relationships that will form within the village. Every new villager profession will rely on other professions in order to do their jobs and to stay alive. So, for example, the lumberjack will rely on the blacksmith to craft new axes, as his are going to get worn out and break over time. But the blacksmith will rely on the lumberjack for the wood to craft those axes. Okay, next villager, meet the farmer. Hello. Now, aside from his dashing new looks, this version of the farmer won't try to bounce loaves of bread off his friends' foreheads in an attempt to share food. Instead, this new farmer is the heart of all new thriving villages. He supplies the food, and everybody needs to eat. Every significant thing that every villager does will make them just a bit hungrier. When a lumberjack chops a tree, he gets a bit hungrier. When a farmer picks a crop, they get a bit hungrier. Even walking across town will make a villager just a tad hungrier. And when a villager gets really hungry, they head on over to the community storage area and grab a bite to eat. So the farmer is responsible for making sure the entire village doesn't starve to death by providing potatoes, carrots, beets, or crafted bread from the wheat that they harvest. They'll automatically seek out and harvest any fully mature crops, they'll replant as necessary, and deliver them to the community storage area for sharing. And later on in upcoming updates, I plan on adding a chef profession who will create some much higher quality foods that'll better satiate his fellow villagers. Alright, it is time to say hello to the blacksmith. Hello. So here we have our first non-gathering villager. The blacksmith is a top-level crafting villager whose daily routine is a complex and detailed one. He's going to gather his needed raw materials from the community storage, such as wood, coal, and ores, and then he's going to spend his day hard at work inside his blacksmith building. His furnaces will be kept stocked with fuel, and he will smelt all his ores into bars for crafting. Once he has enough bars, the blacksmith will put his shiny new hammer to use and craft all kinds of tools and weapons needed by the rest of his village community. Whichever tools are most in demand is what he is going to prioritize in his crafting, and once he's done crafting each one, he'll deliver them to the community storage for others to pick up as needed. So now's also a good time to mention that aside from hunger and eating food, all villagers will also have a few other goals that they need to meet. While I haven't got around to implementing it yet, all villagers are going to need to sleep at nighttime. So when night falls, they will return to their personal homes, maybe light a few torches and relax for a little bit, but eventually they will fall asleep in their beds for some much needed rest. Villagers will also need to stay happy. Too much work makes a villager go insane, and nobody wants that. So in upcoming updates, you might see villagers stop and socialize with friends for a bit, maybe play with some of the kids in town, or even visit the local tavern at night and get a bit rowdy. Exactly. My goal is to have a living, breathing town that is just fun to sit back and watch. Alright, last villager, let's give a welcome to the miner. You might have been wondering where the blacksmith was going to get all of his coal and ores from. Well, now you know. The miner is a pretty amazing villager. No more will you have to go strip mining for diamonds because the miner is going to do it for you. With a little setup from the player, he will go deep underground and mine long strips looking for anything valuable. He will maintain the mine shafts as he extends them, repairing the walls as necessary. He will avoid lava, and of course, he'll keep an eye out for all valuable resources to take home. Also, as long as the miner has a few coal and some sticks, he will craft torches and keep the mines lit up to prevent mob spawns. Any good resources he finds will eventually be returned to the community storage, mostly to be used by his friend, the blacksmith. The miner relies on the blacksmith to supply new pickaxes, as well as the farmer to keep him fed. Now, I do want to mention that getting the miner working was a massive amount of work. You see, getting a villager to find a deep mine shaft underground and successfully navigate there from across town is no minor task. When I tried, I ran into a huge setback, and it's why this video took way longer to come out than all the previous ones. It turns out the core pathfinding system in Minecraft has some pretty big limitations. Entities can only attempt to move so far before the pathfinding system just gives up. And actually, it's understandable why it gives up, because it's a very inefficient algorithm. So I had a pretty huge decision to make. If I wanted my villagers to not have constant pathfinding issues, I needed to replace the entire existing system in Minecraft to be more efficient and support much longer travel distances. So I implemented something called hierarchical pathfinding. You can see it at work right here as it builds its hierarchy of pathing connectivity graphs. Now, I'm not going to go into all the technical details of what's happening because I could talk for about 20 minutes, but well, let's just say it's extremely cool and it works absolutely fantastic for Minecraft. Villagers can travel to anywhere within this graph with very minimal CPU overhead, and honestly, if Mojang was just to put this new system into the vanilla game, it would be a huge performance and gameplay improvement. Alright, so these villages aren't going to exactly flourish by themselves. I mean, the villagers will keep doing their jobs and keep things moving along, but to expand, they're going to need some help. They're going to need new buildings built, new machines and tools like anvils and crafting blocks and beds, just to name a few. And this is where you, the player, comes in. Your job is to be mayor and chief architect of your thriving community. And while you could use the buildings generated with a default boring village, it'd be much more fun to make your own beautiful custom village. Just start from scratch and you get to decide how your town looks and how to lay out all your buildings to best optimize your villagers' daily routines. You'll also be deciding which types of villagers you want to add to your town based on how things are going. And of course, you'll need to monitor them all and make sure they all have their needs met and are happily doing their jobs. Now, unlike existing villages, these new villages will have many different kinds of buildings or structures in them. Different structures will have different purposes, and the villagers will use them accordingly. You can build them in any style you'd like, and in any location, and with any blocks. All you need to do is identify the type of building it is, so that the villagers can use it correctly. And this is done by simply placing an item frame next to or above the door frame, and putting the correct item type in that frame. So, for instance, the community storage will have a chest, the blacksmith will have an anvil, and each of the mine shafts will have an iron ingot. The more spacious the interiors of all your buildings are, the happier the villagers inside them will be. Also, each building type has a very specific set of things that can be placed inside it that the villagers will interact with. The community storage area needs a bunch of chests, the blacksmith needs furnaces and an anvil, houses need beds. It's up to you to decide where to place all these items and how to decorate your interiors. Your villagers will find what they need and get to work. Alright, now I want to stress that what I'm showing you here today represents a huge amount of infrastructure and foundation work, but it is only a very tiny percentage of what this mod will include when it's done. There are so many more villagers and structure types and features I plan to add. Now to answer a question that many of you, I'm sure, are probably asking, yes. I do plan on publicly releasing this mod when it is done, but not until it is done, so please do not ask me when it will be ready. Given that there is so much work involved in this mod and so much more to come, there's going to be more what-if videos that will cover all the future updates. And I'm also considering doing something pretty special for this mod. I'm thinking of doing a short single-player sort of Let's Play series of videos here on my channel where I start from scratch and build a huge, full, self-supporting city with dozens, if not hundreds, of new villagers. So please, let me know what you think of everything. I mean, what villagers would you like to see added? What design choices would you make? Are you interested in seeing that small video series where I grow a city and explain the mod in much more detail before releasing it to the public? Leave a comment as always, and thank you guys so much for all the support on the What If series. I really appreciate it. And of course, I have to give a huge thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters that built this just absolutely incredible village. Without you guys, these videos wouldn't be half as good as they are, so thank you so much. And that's gonna do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.